Yo, 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 what is up, Renegades, my fellow Joes, or Cobra, I guess. I guess I can't discriminate. Even if you're not a Joe, if you're a Cobra, you're welcome here. How's everybody doing? Daddy Louie here, bringing you this super fun, I'm very excited, live stream where we will be painting Serpentor from the Renegade game G.I. Joe Mission Critical. Uh, Serpentor is one of the cooler looking characters, I will say, in the G.I. Joe franchise. He's got very Destro vibes on that level of coolness. I guess it's the coolness factor, right? Um, so it's a lot of yellows, a lot of greens. That's basically it. His face too, I guess, is also a separate color. Because he's a guy, like dressed in this costume. He has a human face, which is interesting. So we'll do that separate. First, we have to really get a good solid base coat of yellow on this guy. And to do that, we're going to use some contrast paints. The reason that we're going to use contrast paints in this instance is because I have kind of this idea in my head of some of the miniature being like one shade of yellow, and then the rest of the miniature being a different shade of yellow. Because if you look at the character, like the scales on the Cobra part is like a darker yellow, whereas the like the body, the chest, and stuff, and a little bit on the face is a brighter yellow. And then his cape is green, the snakes are green, and then his face will probably do last. So the yellow that I'm going to use is a dark yellow. This is Nazdrag yellow. This is actually a brand new paint for me. I bought it Saturday, actually, and I used it last night a little bit on Trandoshan skin, if you're familiar with Star Wars. And I really liked how that came out. And so I thought, man, what perfect paint to use on. Although the pot is not staying open, the pot is just continuously closing. So with contrast paints, you want a decently large brush. This probably is not. I probably could go a size larger. Do I want to do that before I get started? Yeah, I think I do. Okay, I'm going up a size in brush. This was what, a 2? This was a 2, so I'm going up to a 3. I think that's the biggest one I have at my disposal right now. I'm just loading up the brush with some of that contrast paint, and we're just going to get started there. Let's see. Let's go to the chat. Circle of Nerds. Let's go. Welcome in, Circle of Nerds. Paint a glorious statue of the Cobra Emperor. No iodine yellow. You could use iodine yellow if I'm going for kind of this different feel. I don't want him to be. I want to make him less cartoony and more like real world, I guess. More live action. This is my take on what he would look like if the character came to live action. That's what we're gonna do here. I don't really care too much if the contrast paint gets on any of the other bits. I want most of this to be this color anyway, and I've decided earlier I wasn't going to do any additional contrast paints. Normally, if I was going to do another color of a contrast paint, I would, man, he's got leg pads all the way up. Some of the reference photos I found, like the leg armor only goes like knees, doesn't go like all the way up the leg. But this particular Serpentor, and it does look a little brown. That's intentional. I just don't want him to be super bright yellow like he is in the cartoons. Trying to give him a more modern look here. Yeah, I think it's just based on like this particular pose and just kind of the direction that I've gone with the remainder or with the other G.I. Joe minis that I've painted. I also tried to give them all like real, less of the goofy cartoon colors that we're used to in a more modernized color scheme. I tend to paint a lot of bright colors and stuff when I'm painting Power Rangers, because the IP kind of, it's just a bright colored thing. So for G.I. Joe, I've tried to do kind of the opposite. Hola, Rich. Rich is in the chat. So again, if you're just joining, we are painting Serpentor from the Mission Critical game from Renegade. And right now I am using a, what is this, Nazdrag yellow contrast paint. He does not have a chariot. I wish he did have a chariot. There might be a vehicle card in the game. I haven't looked at all of the cards yet. I just got this box like late last week, so got it. Basically went right into it, grabbed the mini out, and primed it to get it ready for this. I have not had the chance to explore the box much. Maybe there is a chariot card in there. I'm sure there is. Serpentor. What did I say? Something different? I might have. Alright, getting... Oh, that's the cape. Don't want to paint that. Is it the cape? No, I guess it's not. I guess the cape, this is part of the Cobra head back there. His cape doesn't go up to his head like that. The inside of his cape on some of the things I've seen was yellow, but it looks like the reference picture that I'm using is of a statue. What statue is this? In case you wanted to know what I'm using as a reference photo. This is the Emperor statue. Serpentor Cobra Emperor statue. 2020. I'm just looking at a picture on eBay. Which is a nice little tip for you guys. If you're wanting to use reference photos for stuff and you're having a difficult time, like settling, I guess, on a design or a color palette, um, look at the action figures. This goes for Power Rangers too. Like, look at the toys, because especially toys that were made early on, there was a surprising amount of color that they try and put into the palettes. Um, so you definitely get a good sense of, you know, color from the toys. I did that a lot when I was painting the Megazord from the Power Ranger game, um, because if you look online and you Google, like Megazord reference photos or whatever, there are very little reference photos of the Megazord's back. Like, even if you play through like the TV show, very rarely do you actually ever see the back of the Megazord. Um, but you do on the toy because you can just turn it around. So I used the toy for a large portion of the references that I needed for whatchamacallit, for the Megazord. So there's that contrast paint sitting on there. It's going to take a couple minutes to dry. While it's dry, we can start thinking about what our next steps are while it's drying. My thought is I'm going to go with like this. What is this? Zamesi Desert. I don't like how they use their names. Zamesi Desert. It's a layer paint. I'm going to hit that with probably over the entire miniature, honestly. I probably will wait to paint everything else once I do this. And this is going to be for like the scales and stuff. And then the inside of his chest, where it's a brighter gold, I'm going to start with Averland Sunset and work up my triad of paints. So the center, like his chest, will probably go something like Averland Sunset, Uriel Yellow, and like Flash Gits, something like that. Which this is an extreme. I'll only use this for like brighter highlights, you know. But for the outside, mostly it's just going to be this Zamesi Desert. When I say outside, I mean his scales. The outside of him. I keep saying Serpentor. 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 Dun dun dun. His name is Serpentor. Okay. And let's see the rest of him. He's got these kind of these gauntlets on. He's got these leg pads. He's got boots. He's got these straps across. All of that is green. And then, of course, he has the snakes here and then the cape on the back. So for greens, I'm thinking about starting with Wog Flesh, which means that we need our palette. So let's zoom out here. I need to get a... If somebody has a recommendation for a camera, I'm currently using a... What is this? This is a Canon. This is the Canon Vixia HFR 800, which is a great camera. I would really love a camera that I could control the zoom without touching the camera, like from my... But I don't want artificial zoom, you know what I mean? Like, I could zoom in via OBS, but I don't want to do that. I want to just have like a little remote. But I'd like, something that's equal or better quality. Alright, so here's our palette. It's clean, but it's not very moist. Just gonna peel back that. I just have some distilled water. You don't have to use distilled water. That's kind of like one of those extra little steps that you know, when you do a lot of little adjustments, sometimes it can make a big difference. Um, for the casual painter, no one would ever think to switch your water to distilled, but sometimes it can make a difference. Especially if you're painting with older paints, you just never know how the chemicals of the paints are going to interact with your water. Um, and I do have a lot of older paints because I tend to hoard my paints and not get new ones when older ones are on the fritz. Alright, so we got our palette. So while we wait for the rest of that to... let's go back. There we go. While we wait for the rest of the mini to dry, I'm going to start testing the green color. Make sure I have a color that I like. So we got Wog Flesh. I have the triad of those as well next to me in case we need it. So Wog Flesh, War Boss Green, and Skarsnik Green. I don't understand why they need to use all these weird names. Come on. Okay. That's some of this green on my palette. Let's see how this looks. Yep. Yep, that's the green. It's the green that I was hoping for. I might paint the snakes a different green so that the cape stands out a bit. And his armor, and the snakes don't get lost in the it explodes. I've just had a lot of like really terrible, like really bad paint interactions recently on these streams. Actually, you've seen, if you go back and watch my streams, if you weren't here live, I've had some weird paint interactions going on that I thought, like I had pinpointed the problem, but not so much. Not so much. If you want to use a contrast paint for this step, you can as well. Had I done that, I probably would have used Orc Flesh, probably. Although that's a little more of a bright green, I guess. I'm really trying to tone down the bright. See, I'm having some weird interactions here. Wonder if I didn't shake the pot up enough. I'm also starting to consider that maybe the can of primer that I have is bad. Let me take the Wog Flesh to the paint stirrer. If you hear the vibration in the background, That is the sound of my paint stirrer. Paint stirrer. Serpentor. Serpentor. Alright. Let's get into the rest of this. I think that yellow is just about dry for our next step. And it's going to screw up some of this, so I'm going to have to go over some of what I'm doing right now anyway. I really just wanted to get a good test of that green. And I like it. The character like design and especially like the color palette, right? It's very Loki. Loki also has that green and gold going on. Serpentor is obviously more gold, less green. And Loki is more green, less gold. Cool. Happy with that color. Need to find a good color for the snakes. Let's see. How green do we want these snakes to be? Do we want them to be a darker green than that? I'm thinking so. Let's see what other dark greens I have here. I have a mossy green. Or a turf green. I don't think turf green will work. I think mossy green might be good. I also have this. What is this? High density pigment. Nope. Bright turquoise. Don't want turquoise. Moss might be a little bit on the blue side, though. Well, we're going to dig real deep into the Reaper paints. Haven't painted with my Reaper paints in a while. This is from the Master Series, and this is 2910, aka Mossy Green. I have probably had this pot or this dropper of paint since probably like 2015, 2016. So it's probably 8 to 10 years old. So I'm really working on the paint stirrer here. All right, let's give this a shot. See where we're at. Make sure it even comes out of the pot. Now that looks insanely similar to that wog. Let's see how it looks on the. It's a richer green. It's kind of cool. Kind of like that color. Although it's very, very similar to the cape color. Unless you're like really looking at it, then you can see the differences. Maybe when it dries, it'll be okay. This is what we'll go with. It definitely looks much more like snaky. And again, I'm gonna have to go over this. I don't know why I'm doing it. Okay. Alright, well, good. Alright, so I have a color for my snake. I have a color for my cape. I have, and I'll use that same cape color for the other green accents on the armor. Mm, yeah, good. I'm seeing that there's still some moisture in some of those crevices, which means that it hasn't fully dried. And because I'm going to be airbrushing, I don't want to airbrush over that. So I'm going to keep painting the snake for a couple more minutes. Um, Even though I'm going to have to go over it, that's okay. Gives me something to do while we wait. You don't want to just see me talk. And the reason that I'm saying I'm going to have to go over it is because the next step, the thing that I'm waiting for the contrast paint to dry for, is that I'm going to dry brush the miniature with some proper yellow so that some of that brown that the armor currently has on it, or the skin. For you folks out there that are better at G.I. Joe knowledge than I am, is it armor? Is he in a costume? Is he really a snake man? Like, what is his deal? What is Serpentor's shtick? Like, is he a real cobra? Or is he just a man who likes to dress like a cobra? And does that make him like the leader? Is he the cobra of the cobras? Is the cobra commander his cobra? Teach me the ways. I love the franchise from a nostalgia point of view. I am not knowledgeable in the lore. Yeah, that green color looks cool. I dig it. Mm-hmm. I dig it. All right, let's start looking at doing our dry brushing. It's still not exactly where I'd like it to be, but let's see what we can make happen. Let's see what we can make happen, Captain. Let's see. Oh, I already got the yellows right here. I remember. So the yellow that I want to start with is this Zemesi Desert. I have some newish dry brushes I think I'd like to try and use. Do I want to use the large or the medium? I think I'm going to go with the medium dry brush. This is a Citadel dry brush. And for those that are not super comfortable with dry brushing, I will walk you through it. Let's get this sticker off of my paintbrush because I don't like it. Dry brushing is a very simple technique that can make your painting go quicker and give you a fairly nice finish. So, biggest disclaimer when it comes to dry brushing is do not use your brush that you do your normal painting with. Use an older brush, use a cheaper brush, or use a brush that's specifically designed for dry brushing like this one here. Dry brushing can and will ruin nice brushes. So we're going to take our pot and our brush. We're going to get some paint on there. And then we'll put the pot away for now. And take a paper towel and just... I kind of like work the paint into the bristles a little bit. And then come over here to the other side. Just wipe it off there. And then you're going to do exactly what it sounds like. You're just going to brush over the spots that you want the new color. And you're really wanting, the objective here is to get the paint from the little tiny bits of paint that are still left on your brush to catch on the raised edges of what you're dry brushing over. And then as you know that there's less and less paint on your brush, you can brush a little harder, because then you don't have to worry about covering up completely. You know, you don't want the you don't want those tiny bits of paint to get caught in the recesses. That kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish here. Dry brushing along with contrast paints is such a good painting hack. It's not even really a hack. I mean, that's kind of what it's designed to do, is to just help you do whatever you're trying to accomplish quicker than if you didn't do this. Set my brush aside for now. Now I'm going to grab my Averland Sunset. Put some of that on the palette. I'm going to grab a smaller brush because I'm going to do a more concentrated area. Yellow can be a cumbersome color to paint because it's so translucent. So here I'm just hitting the pecs. The Snake pecs. Just trying to leave that dark color in the recesses. There we go. And it might not be apparent in the video, but you can kind of see what I'm going for there. If we really, really wanted to, which part of me kind of does. How deep down this rabbit hole do we want to go? You know what? Let's go back to our green now that that's dry. And we'll come back to the scales and stuff in a moment. Because I have to do this whole underside of the cape, trying very hard not to clip my yellow. Hindsight being what it is, I probably should have painted the inside of this cape first. But that's okay. Now, next time we know. I've said it before multiple times on streams. One of the more challenging things when it comes to painting miniatures with capes, specifically with Renegade's minis, or any company that puts out minis that are solid sculpts, meaning you don't have to put them together, they're all one piece, is painting behind the mini to get to the cape without having to without screwing everything else up. And as far as like tips, that's tough because I struggle as well. Really just taking my time, making sure that I have enough paint on my brush so that when I get like here through the legs, I basically just get as close, the brush as close as I can, and then just kind of like push the bristles back up into the crevice, if that makes sense. Now, keep in mind that if you can't see it from, you know, your vantage point where you're trying to paint, then you probably can't see it when you're looking at the miniature. So there have been several times in the past where I have just not painted certain parts of a miniature because, you know, unless you go outside in natural light and hold it from every angle possible, you're not going to know that there are certain spots that are unpainted. Um, but I also don't want it to look sloppy, so I'm going to do what I can to make it look nice. How you hold the miniature also can make a difference as well. Try holding it in different directions. I gotta hold it upside down, and you'll have to excuse the angle of the camera for a moment because I'm having to hold it like 15 different directions here to get into the hard to reach spots. Okay. Alright. Just painting the outline here. I don't know what new Power Ranger stuff specifically you're talking about. I haven't gotten any new Power Ranger stuff recently. Like, I think the last thing I got was a couple months ago. Um, but it very well could be in what I got a couple months ago, specifically whatever it is you're asking for. I have a Power Ranger mini primed and ready to go. The one that I was supposed to paint last month, but I ended up getting sick, and I didn't end up doing a stream last month. But it's right next to me. It's primed and ready to go. And it's a fan favorite, I think, so I think people are going to enjoy that one when I do it. I'm not upset about that. Wash on the cape. I have not decided. Typically, yes, that is typically what I would do. But I'm feeling a little atypical today. Let's see. Look at a couple other reference pictures here. This is a good one. Yep, he's literally like, just all this stuff is green. All his pads, all this stuff. I might have the RPM stuff. I gotta look. But it's possible I don't. I really need like an inventory sheet. I have so much, and because of the limited amounts of space that I have in like like I most of the boxes I don't keep. Like I take all of the stuff out and I have my own separate storage solution for my Power Ranger stuff. And for my G.I. Joe stuff, because you know, I knew that I'd probably end up getting everything, so I needed a very similar um, storage solution. Sorry, lots of little bits and bobs that require me to hold my breath. I've mentioned it before on other streams, but for me, one thing that works for me when I am um, painting small details, things that I don't want to, like flinch or screw up, is I'll hold my breath. And I don't know how much I recommend it because, obviously I don't want anybody to pass out. But one thing that I learned in the military is that, like in high stress situations, especially like when you're firing a rifle or something like that. I did it in karate too. It's like it just everything kind of steadies for a minute. So if I'm ever recording and you see me like hit the deck, it's probably because I passed out from holding. um, so just like wait a minute or two. I'm sure I'll come back. I'll come to. And if I don't, then you know, 911. Somebody. Another thing that's difficult for me, in case you can't tell, is making sense talking when I'm painting. Um, because of my ability to stay on task and focus. I get like so hyper focused on the painting that I'll go back and watch my streams. I'm like, what the heck was I talking about? Tends to happen. Alright. We're getting there. We're getting there. That leg armor is... whoo, beefy. It is beefy leg armor. I gotta paint his feet. Another thing I tend to do is pull the miniature towards my face when I'm painting, which is, of course, away from the camera. So then I end up moving the camera, and then I overcompensate and go back. I have to be cognizant of that as well. That looks great. Go back over some of the yellow on the or some of the green on the inside of the cape. I can see streaks. I don't want streaks. Alright. I'm pretty happy with where the cape's at right now. So now I need to make the decision of, do I put a wash on it or do I not? I really am leaning towards not doing a wash on the cape. And instead just highlighting it and making it pop on its own without the wash. Oh, that's nice. That is a nice color. He has these gauntlet things. They look silver to me. Okay, I found a good picture. Let's see. So on one arm, in the photo anyway, on one arm he's got like a contraption that's silver, and on the miniature he doesn't have that. So I'm going to paint it just green. Although maybe I'll paint it silver. Let's see what it looks like all green. I can always go over it. let's go to the chat. Let's see. I'm interested in RPM Black. So he's black and interested in how to do. I got you. Yeah, I mean, I can see about making that a priority on the list for sure. I can tell you it probably won't be the next one unless we do something themed. Because like I said, I already have something primed ready to go, and that's not it. And I don't want to give it away because I don't want to excite or disappoint anyone if it changes. Atomic Ninja G. Yeah, knowing is half the battle. Knowing is half the battle. If it helps, I didn't remind anyone until like 5 minutes before. I don't know. I don't know what to do about the bracers. Yeah, I'll make sure to try and announce stuff earlier. I was um I was waiting on the stream to get scheduled because I wanted to make sure that it was actually happening before I said anything, and then it didn't get scheduled until later on today, so I didn't get a chance to really announce it properly. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I'm gonna go back to that. The color I was using for the snake. I can't remember what it was. It's over here. Mossy green from Reaper. Insanely old pot of paint that I have here. Using that for the snake. But if you don't have that, which most people probably don't, just any kind of forest green. It's just like a dark foresty green. And it is slightly different than the other green. Probably can't tell the difference on camera, but you definitely can in person. Yeah, this is a good color. Just grabbed the wrong green off my palette, man. Okay. Decisions, decisions. Now I have to decide. Do I put a wash on there or not? I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to focus more on the skin and scales and less on the green stuff. So let's go. I'm going to try something. Go a little crazy here. I'm going to grab that Zemesi Desert. And if I'm saying that wrong, sorry, but I don't think anybody knows how to correctly pronounce it. And if you do, and I'm the dummy, then I'm the dummy. Alright, so I'm grabbing this and I'm going over spots that just look too dull for me. I'm gonna see if I can paint each and every little scale. I can. It's a slow process, but I can. Yeah, so basically all I'm doing right now is just going scale by scale and just putting the smallest of little dot on there. It's really making it pop. It's hard to tell probably, but it's certainly doing something. I know I'm being very quiet. Um, I don't think anybody told me what Serpentor, what his shtick is. Like, is he a man dressed as a cobra? Is he half man, half cobra? Is he, like, what is his deal? I feel like I need to know some more information about Mr. Snake here. Scale by scale, guys. Scale by scale. That's why I'm not talking. I really don't want to screw up on like the last scale because that would stink. Using the side of my brush here to hit the top of this. This is the snake's crown. Alright. Oh, and I gotta do this arm over here, huh? I would feel pretty dumb if I forgot a whole half of this whole side over here. Let's get a little water. I should paint all the scales a different color. Can you imagine? Dang, I kind of want to now. I think I have enough paint. I think I have enough unique paint colors that I could do it. Where every single scale on the miniature is different. the crown. I think that's what it's called. So it's a king cobra, right? Because it has the crown. Oh no. Oh no. So the short story is that Destro and Dr. Mindbender created him using DNA from the world's best military leaders. Ah. And he just came out a snake? Or is it just like the convenient part that the Cobra organization created something that just so happened to come out a snake? I do need to figure out what color the snake's eyes on his head are. In this statue, they're just black. Serpentor. That one, the red. I think red is probably what I would go with. I'll make the eye walls black and then red. So let's work more on the chest armor. So we're going to go up from Averland Sunset to Uriel Yellow. It is the middle of the pack when it comes to yellows and brightness. Gosh, it's so bright though. I'm going to have to dull it down a little bit. So I'm going to dull it down, try and do like a 1 part Averland Sunset, 1 part Uriel Yellow. I just don't want it to be like an insanely bright. I mean, it's Cobra, everything is snake themed. Be a bit odd if he came out an elephant. Serpentor. Oh man, that's funny. That is funny. Alright, I'm gonna grab a little bit of Uriel Yellow, just straight Uriel Yellow. It'll probably be the brightest I go. Serpentor. Avenge me, for I am Serpentor. Alright. A little bit of yellow where I didn't want it. There we go. Alright, I'm pretty happy with the gold or the yellow. I'm looking at it on camera and it definitely looks more brown than yellow, but in person it really does look more yellow than anything else. And I'm hoping that through some highlighting in some other areas, it'll make it pop a bit more. I mean, we could take a little bit of that 1-for-1 mix and put it in with the other stuff and go like, you know, you could do some more highlights. Just put some highlights in some places. Yeah, so just picking out some highlights. Okay. All right. Enough messing with the yellow. Let's make some of this green pop. So I'm going to go up to the next green in the Wog Flesh Triad. This is War Boss Green. Let's take a look and see what this looks like as a highlight. Ooh, that was a lot of paint that just came out of there. Was not ready for that. Alright, let's see. Let's see what we got here. properly concentrating here. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know how I feel about it. It's a tough mini. It really is. And I'll tell you why. It's a tough mini because there's only like two colors, right? There's green and there's yellow. And there's only so much you can do with two colors. Especially if, you're kind of painting at this level. And I say at this level in that, like, I could do a lot more with just two colors if I had, like, my guess is somewhere in the ballpark of like 2 to 3 more hours than what we've already done. And that would involve several. I'm seriously trying to think of other franchises that were out then that had villains with only one theme to them. He-Man and the Forces of Evil were all pretty unique. Snake Men and the Horde. Yeah, I would say that He-Man has probably one of the more unique cast of characters of, the franchises that were out then. I'm also biased. Voltron only had one type of bad guy? Was it always the same one? My dogs are being obnoxious. Hopefully you guys can't hear them on the stream. So right now what I'm doing, because I realize I haven't really said anything painting related in a minute. Right now what I'm doing is just taking some watered down paint and I'm slowly lightening it up by mixing in my original color with some new colors, with some lighter tones. And I'm just trying to put it in places that would be brighter than other areas, and then just letting the paint kind of dry, or letting the water dry, and hoping that when it dries, it's not streaky or splotchy. Alright, see. Let's see what that looks like when it dries. Have I thought about adding some neon pink? I thought I would make his face neon pink. I hope that's okay. hope that everyone would enjoy seeing that. I think that looks pretty cool. The only thing I'm concerned with now, I think, is the snake. I just don't know how to make the snake look cooler. Which was this mossy green? I think I'm gonna go with. Should I go with meadow green or turf green? Let's go with meadow green. So now we're going to. So I used 29810. This time I'm going to use 29812. It's not really a triad like GW does. Although I do have a. Oh my. Why is it so loud? Apparently I was pushing down too hard. Atomic Ninja G said, well, that would just make my day, referencing me painting Serpentor's face. Serpentor. It's not Serpentor. Serpentor. Alright, let's see. Let's see what we can make with this color here. Alright, let's see if we can highlight the snake here. All these different greens, man, they're all starting to look the same. I feel like the snakes should have faces, but you want to see the snake. Here's where we're at right now. That's where we're at. Let's start working on the face now. The snakes are just so, like, their faces are so small, I don't know that there's anything I can do to liven them up a little bit. I'm going to grab Cadian Flesh Tone is usually my go-to for this kind of skin tone. So let's get that going. I have to paint the top of the face. It's so like it's like so washed out from the yeah, the snake goes around his neck. It's actually two snakes, so there's a head here and a head here, and they cross in the back. So you can see they cross here in the back. Alright, I need to paint the top of the headpiece. Like the bottom. He makes them solid and throws them like spears. That's cool. I just wish they were a different color, not green. And not just not green, but not like the same color green as the rest of his. Maybe I need to make them a brighter green. What do you guys think? Because right now it kind of feels like they are a different shade of green. It's just difficult to tell on the camera. But curious what the chat thinks about making them a completely different green. When I say completely different, let me give you like green green. And then I can put a green wash on it to darken it. So it's not like this bright of a green. I could also make it like a reptilian, more like a reptilian green, but I just don't want it to clash with the rest of his. Yes, I'm curious what the chat thinks about doing that. I'm letting the face dry real quick. And then we're going to hit it with some Racklin Flesh Shade. And then we'll go from there. Could you maybe dot lighter, darker green on some of the scales? No, because the scales are pretty muted down. I think just because of the size of the miniature. Like, the scales aren't, like, popped out like they are on the rest of his armor. Or skin, or whatever the heck it is. Um, hmm. I'm gonna go with this. Yeah, I could go with a gloss on the cape. I'm just going with a more earthy green. Like real snake color. So this is Death World Forest is the color that we're going with here for the snakes, and I immediately like it more than the color that it was personally. So probably gonna stick with this. I just don't want to spend a ton of time on it either, you know. All right, pretty happy with that. I knew they needed to be green. I just wanted them to be a different green than everything else. And then originally they kind of were, but then as I started putting highlights and stuff on the cape, which turned out awesome, by the way. Um, and see, that's another thing. Like, I could spend easy another hour on this cape, on just this part of the cape, really bringing out all those highlights and stuff. But in the interest of time, we're gonna not do that. Right now, we're just focusing on the face and base. That's basically what the big stuff that we have left. So I'm grabbing some Racklin Flush Shade. It is my skin tone wash of choice. Um, all right, that's washes on there. Well, that's set for a minute. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I could go crazy on some of these designs. I'm gonna grab some Althuan Gray. I'm not gonna use that yet. I'm just gonna set it aside. Let's grab some black. I'm using Abaddon Black from Citadel. Just my kind of my go-to. Which, if you've been following me for a while, which I know that there's a few people in the chat that have been with me for a while as far as watching streams and stuff. I used to not use Abaddon Black for my black of choice. I used to use Vallejo. I still use Vallejo. I use German Gray all the time, but okay. Let's grab some Wild Rider Red. I think we're gonna go with Wild Rider Red. It's like an orangey red. I'm trying to make the eyeball big enough so that maybe I could do like the black slit in the eyeball. Cool. It looks so good. I'm really happy. Cool. That looks sweet. once I get the... So what I did was, let me just zoom in. I'll just zoom in now. There we go. So what I did was I filled in the whole eye socket black, and then I made a larger red circle than I probably needed so that I can do the slit in the eye. See if I can get it on camera, but also look. Looks pretty good. Not really a slit, but better than it was. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna have to zoom back out. I think I might have a comic book over there that has a picture of him. You know what? You guys talk amongst yourself. I'm gonna look real quick. Never mind. John says, talk, talk, talk. That was... exciting. Alright. I need to focus on his face now. So I need to do the eyeball thing that some of you have seen me do on other miniatures. Now his face is very tiny, so this might not work. But I have my black, and I got some of that Althuan gray, which is essentially like an off-white. So I fill his eye sockets with the black, pushing this out of my face so that I can do this properly. You know what? We need to probably kick the light up a little bit here. I can see. Alright, so I've filled, you can't really see it very well, but there we go. Let's see it a little better. I blacked them in. I'm doing this before I highlight the face. Highlighting the face will be the last thing. Actually, the teeth will be the last thing, like cobra teeth, but alright, so now that they're filled in black and dry, I'm going to grab some of my Althuan gray. Make sure you have a really sharp tip on your brush, like that. And you go inside as best you can. Not like that. It's because I didn't let it dry. I didn't let the black dry. teeth. Snake teeth. Letting that white dry. I haven't painted Eye Guy. I think that's one of the minis, like um, from the OG Kickstarter that I have still that's unpainted. For that very reason, like holy moly. I don't know what is going on with these eyeballs. Yeah, his eyes are terrible. So you gotta let stuff dry. That's totally my fault. Sorry, I'm trying to fix the mistakes. Wait, what are we making happen? This, this face is challenging, huh? I need to decide what I want to do with the base. I guess just black, huh? You know what? We're going to go German gray. I didn't get any German gray in here, so... Yeah, I want to give him better base later. I just don't have time to do like a big base right now. I do like the idea of like a jungle base or something like that. So I'll see about doing like a basing workshop soon. Because I think doing bases is pretty fun, personally, and I enjoy doing it. It's just time consuming. Oh, yeah, I should probably like back up here. I like that idea for the slither marks. That's a pretty great idea. Gotta finish his face. We're not quite done yet, but we're getting there. I also really want to have an advanced workshop. Like, I want to take a mini that like this one, right? It's done, it's complete. Now, how do we take it to the next level? Which could fold into a basing workshop or basing lessons, because I really feel like that's like an extra thing that really takes stuff to the next level, you know? Not everybody will do the bases, but when you do them, you can see a huge difference in not super happy with under the cape. There's still some bits, but it's not that bad. But again, one of those things that I would fix in a if it was less time sensitive. Okay, grabbing some black. Just try and zoom in one more time. see it on the camera, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's too much. It's like if I... Let's see how that looks. You still can't really see it that well. The one on his left eye, or I guess it's his right eye, looks kind of janky. Let's see if I can fix it without screwing it up. A little better. Yeah, that's good. That's good. We're going to call him complete. That is Serpentor, the homebrewed Destro mastermind, mindbender, not mastermind, Mindbender and Destro Experiment 101. Serpentor! Thanks everybody for watching. This was fun. I enjoyed painting him more than... I wouldn't say more than I thought I would. I enjoyed it pretty well. The front of the face is tough to look at, honestly, because the... the eyes clash with the fangs, so it's really strange when you look at it head on like that. But if you look at it like from the, with kind of his face covered a little bit, it looks a lot better. But great. It was great. I hope everybody enjoyed this. As always, make sure that you tell your friends, your family, anybody that you think would enjoy watching these streams. Make sure you point them our way. We're doing this the first Monday of every month, except for last month. So with that said, I should be back on June 3rd. And but make sure that you pay attention to the Facebook groups and stuff like that, so you can get the notifications. You can also go make sure that you favorite, bell notification, subscribe, all that stuff to this channel so that you can get the notifications when that stuff happens. But as always, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you take care of yourself, take care of each other, play your games, paint your miniatures, and I'll see you guys at the next stream. Bye.